Just be yourself. It sounds like empowerment. It sounds like truth, but sometimes it is a trap. Because who is this self you're being told to be? Is it the self you've constructed to please others? The self that keeps you safe and small? The self that has never been challenged? We've built a generation on slogans, but slogans don't save you from existential confusion. So let's get honest. Just be yourself is comforting, but real growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation. This is the myth of authenticity, and this is why it's time to outgrow it. We speak of the self as if it is a solid object, but psychology has shown us we are process, not product. You're not a fixed entity, you're a constantly shifting constellation of memories, influences, trauma, and possibilities. The self you are today is not the one you were 5 years ago, nor the one you could be tomorrow. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Notice the word, become. To just be yourself assumes you've arrived, but most people haven't arrived, they're still hiding. Behind personas, behind trauma adaptations, behind fear. So when we tell someone to just be yourself, we may be asking them to settle for the mask they mistake as their identity. Jung wrote about the persona, the social mask we wear. It isn't fake, it is functional, but it is not the full story. When people say just be yourself, what they're often really saying is, don't make me uncomfortable. Don't challenge the version of you I'm used to. Stay familiar. But becoming who you are requires discomfort. Growth begins where identity ends. Real transformation demands that you betray the version of yourself that's too small for your future. The problem is, the world rewards the persona. It applauds consistency, predictability, but your soul wants expansion. There is a hidden violence in the phrase, just be yourself. It suggests don't reach, don't risk, stay here, but comfort zones are not sanctuaries. They are silent prisons. Every time you defer a challenge in the name of being yourself, you trade evolution for familiarity, and that comfort, it has a cost. A cost in opportunities missed, in potential ignored, in meaning slowly leaking out of your life. Nietzsche said, "Man is something that shall be overcome, not abandoned, not shamed, but transcended." You weren't born to remain static. You were born to evolve. From a psychological point of view, your identity is a survival mechanism. It forms in response to praise, punishment, trauma, and repetition. What you call yourself is often just an accumulation of what kept you safe. So when you just be yourself, you might be just being avoidant, just being a people pleaser, just being who your childhood needed to become to survive. Is that authenticity? Or is it unconscious loyalty to wounds you never addressed? Until you question your identity, you're not free, you're rehearsing. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna faces a war not just on the battlefield, but in his soul. He wants to walk away, to be himself, a man of peace. But Krishna tells him, you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are the eternal self beyond roles. And yet Krishna commands him to fight, not for ego, but for dharma, rightful duty. The message is subtle, but clear. Sometimes your higher self contradicts your current self. Dharma calls us beyond who we think we are, who we are meant to be, and often the self we must become feels terrifying to the self we've known. Just be yourself implies that alignment is passive, that you'll naturally fall into the right life if you stop trying. But meaning requires intention, depth requires discipline. If you only do what feels natural, you'll never do what's necessary. Because growth is unnatural. We are not wired for excellence, we are wired for survival, and survival is predictable, it's repetition, it's patterns. So if you want freedom, real freedom, you must challenge your nature, not suppress it, not shame it, but transcend it. You know, a friend of mine once said, "You're not everything you could be, and you know it." And I feel like that sentence haunts many people, because deep down you know there is more. More courage, more power, more love, more truth. And it's not buried in the self you've been told to just be. It's buried in the self you haven't even met yet. Becoming that version of you will feel like dying because it is a death of the old self. But in every mythology, resurrection follows sacrifice. You can't be reborn if you won't let anything die. So no, don't just be yourself. Be the version of you that scares you, the one who speaks the truth even when their voice shakes, who shows up when it's easier to stay invisible, who risks failure because playing small is a form of slow death. You don't owe the world your comfort. You owe it your becoming. So next time someone says just be yourself, smile. And remember, you're not here to be, you're here to become.